NotTwo. There's already no you.
alreadynottwo.com.
Yeah. Sit in a circle. Who would like to share? It's much better in a circle than it is in rows, though. It's a... I just wait a bit because Aaron's here.
Yeah.
So I just wait for him to come.
Hello.
Hello.
Ben je plaats van veilig daar? Ja, zo buiten. De...
So maybe we can start by saying it would be a bit the same like yesterday. So 3 sessions, 2 breaks in between. And it's recorded. So if it's possible, when there are questions, same as yesterday, to use a microphone, please. That's appreciated in function of a good audio. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so we've got about 4 hours, so I'll speak for an hour non-stop, and then that's what Nico said, and then Nico will talk for 2-3 minutes, and then we'll with a break in between. So we'll have 2 breaks of shorter breaks, 15-20 minutes, toilet breaks. So we'll have about 3.5 hours. So I'll talk, then Nico talks, and then we'll... And I do hope to have a new book out next week as soon as Kindle Direct Publishing get back to me and sort out the glitch that there is with their uploading software. I have apologized to people who have bought it already. But then I've had an email saying with Kindle accepting all responsibility, which is great, but only if they sort it out. And there's nothing been done. So I'm waiting on that. So I've titled my new book, The Illusion of Continuity. Which was kind of in desperation because we'd finished, I worked with a friend in America to put the book together, and we came up with a few titles which neither of us really liked. So it was a last minute thing. But what I mean by the illusion of continuity, that's really what we're talking about. So me, is the illusion of what continues. And it is I that continues. And I is illusory. So the illusion of continuity comes from this sense of I amness, that I'm separate from everything else. So everything else changes. That's the appearance. The appearance changes. But what doesn't change is what I am. So the dreadful news for self, for I, is that I am not. And there isn't anything that continues. Things do not continue. They don't actually have an... It's the whole sense of existence. So because I am, you are. And you are only because I am. And you continue in my story as a continuous entity, a continuous being, separate from everything else, distinct, existent. And that all comes from the sense of I exist. The problem in speaking about this is there isn't anything in my place. So if the illusion no longer appears, there won't be any noticing of what there is instead of. So my problem as a seeker was I was waiting until I knew that I wasn't there. I can't emphasize enough. I mean, all I know, here's the other thing, I'll come on to that in a minute. You won't know when you're not there. Knowing is the illusion that I am here. This certainty that I am here. That's what I am. And I was here, I'm here now. I was here yesterday, and I won't be here tomorrow because I'll be on my Ryanair flight home. That's the illusion of continuity. Now, it's not that that will utterly disappear. The story will remain exactly the same. So here's the thing. You probably feel that the story is the problem. There will be nothing without the story. And I mean literally nothing. There will be no knowing. There'll be no experience. There would be nothing. So the knowing remains, but the knowing is empty when it's not mine. It doesn't belong to me. My knowing is not my knowing. But it is the only knowing that there is. And that has a lightness and an ease to it, which my knowing could never have. My knowing is a fucking dreadful burden that I have to carry because it's mine. It's my cross to bear, and I fucking carry it around wherever I go. So what is being spoken of, and I find it very emotional because there was so much suffering for me carrying that fucking cross. Hoping to get fucking crucified. At the end, you know, why am I dragging this around with me? So I can die. So the compassion in speaking about this, because I often get asked, well, nobody really wants to hear what you've got to say, Tim, apart from a few idiots like you. I say it's compassion, it's loving, it's absolutely compassionate. You do not have a cross to bear. There is nothing for you to carry because there is no one to fucking carry it. This is as light as, light isn't even close because it's absolutely non-existent. But it is all that is existent. So the story is not a problem when it's just a story. Your story and my story are two different stories. But of course, to you, to me, my story is not just another story, is it? It's fucking not. It's the only story that really matters. Don't kid yourself that when someone tells you their story, that you're interested and that you really care about their story. You couldn't give a shit. The only thing you care about is how their story might, oh yeah, I see some similarities, and maybe they've got something to tell me about my story. Well, they fucking haven't. They've got nothing to say about it. No one has. The aloneness of this, without you, there being no others, The aloneness is utterly wonderful, but devastatingly wonderful, because you will not be able to ask anyone anything ever again. Not with any conviction that they might know something that would help. No one knows anything about you, including yourself. Whatever you've said that you know about yourself, you know all this self-awareness work you've been doing for a lifetime, this self-development, this self-improvement, this egotistical nonsense to improve the dream, to improve the story, to have a better story. I don't like my story. There's a lot of things that need improving about it. Well, it's all story, all the way down. Every thought is a story. Every word. And so you're maybe still very interested in what is there without the story. That's really what most seekers that I've been with for 20 years, that's really what they're still looking for, what there will be, what there is when the story is absent. Well, whatever you say there is, it's just another story. So there's no finding what is without a story. It's fuck all. And you could say, well, there's nothing to be said. But it might be so glorious that you might want to tell people that there's nothing to be said, like I do. But there's no doubt that it's pointless. And so people might, if you like talking about this, people might say, well, of course, that's not true liberation, because if there's true liberation, you would say nothing. But the words are all empty, so it's all nothing. It doesn't matter what you say. But I can't emphasize enough that you will not find what you're looking for. Now that's what I want to tell everyone. No wonder it's not popular. But there is no finding. You will not find this. Here it is. What would you find? So you can say there's only finding what is, and there's no finding what is. It's of no benefit. But just maybe there's no one who needs any help. Uncertainty is not so bad. It's quite the opposite. There is only uncertainty with the illusion of... All certainty is illusory. And what you've called yourself is that illusion of that I could be, oh, I don't, that I really do. Yeah, there's plenty of things I'm not sure of. But you know, what you're sure of, what self is sure of, it's really sure of. Because it needs that certainty of to feel grounded. Otherwise, where do I stand? I don't know where to stand. Well, there's a reason. You know, if you've ever felt you don't know where to stand, well, there's the truth. You never stood anywhere. You don't stand anywhere. But it's not by chance in therapy that grounding someone when they feel, if you go to a therapist with depression or anxiety, then one of the first things they might do is do some grounding exercises. which is really, what do you not doubt? What are you certain of? And then we ground in that. Oh, thank fuck, I'm okay. I know where I'm standing. I know. Well, there is no certainty. But this is doubtless, regardless of any doubt. Sorry.
That's what you're saying. Now there's finally something to edit still.
To edit?
To cut out, otherwise.
Oh, leave it in, leave it in, leave it in.
Otherwise there's no room to cut out.
So we were, Nico was editing his, and it took him about 3 hours. And I went, how long will it take to edit mine? He went, there's no editing. You didn't shut up for an hour and 20 minutes. There's no editing involved at all.
Just feels like all I ever want in my life is to get love, to find someone who loves me, and I just think, will this be satisfied, or will it just be caught up? That there's nothing anymore there who wants to be loved, or does it find the love?
Yeah. Well, you're not alone in that, Doris. I mean, that's what feeling separate, which is that's what I am. I am separate. So that's always has a sense of dissatisfaction with it. So you're looking for someone, another human being, to love me, and that love would be the completion. That then I'll feel whole. Then I could rest. If I find the one to complete me, and the completion in most self-stories, that's the story of true love. You know, they will love me absolutely. Well, that's not how self loves. Absolutely. Self can only love relatively. You know, I can only love you. And then you treat me like shit, and then I don't love you, then I hate you. So the love that self is always trying to attain, it is unconditional love, but it's a conditional form of unconditional love. It can't actually achieve the satisfaction. Now, of course, in the story of when it feels as though I have found, self says, God, I've done this enough. Myself, when you find she's the one. It's the same story with God, with self. But that's just in the absolute completion form. No, but I won't be too grandiose You know, I don't want to be too grandiose as a self. I'll just go for just everyday, normal falling in love with the girl I love. And she loves me and then we're complete. Well, that simply can't work. I mean, nothing works, but that can't work because it's so needy. You're so dependent on the love of the other that it can only really end in tears for self, because the sense of being me is the very sense of lack, and needing the other one to keep filling that is so dysfunctional. You know, you talk about codependency. All relationships between two selves are codependent. It's not a disease that some relationships have and others don't have. No, that is how self is. Self is a codependent being. I need you. Well, if I need you for me to feel okay, then it's codependency.
Yeah, but does it feel at the end?
Are you asking me? Are you asking how it is for me?
Is that love, or it's just that there's no one who needs any love anymore?
No, I think naturally there's wanting to be with who you know, we're loving animals, and human beings love to be cared for, but that's very different. So it might appear exactly the same. You might find that there's falling in love much more easily than there used to be, because there's less rules about who I need, who I should and I shouldn't, and who, if you ever had a tick list, if you've done online dating, you definitely have had one of these. You have a tick list of criteria that she has to meet. You know, it's kind of like the tick list will go out the window. You know, what would be the point in that? But the falling in love might happen more easily. Because if you've ever felt in love, I often speak to people and they say, well, what do you talk about? And I said, I talk about unconditional love. And I said, you know, and that you have no say in this at all. Because most guys that I speak to have never, the most unspiritual guys, one thing they can get that they have no say in is who they fall in love with. Against their absolute best judgment, you know. It's your brother's wife, for fuck's sake. What are you doing falling in love with her? That kind of thing. You know, but you have no say. And now, men or women, most people get that, because they do, the experience of being in love is, well, this is against my will. I have no control over this whatsoever. That's why it's wonderful and terrible. And that's what I'm talking about, but all the fucking time. Do you want that? Do you want just to be constantly falling, to be only falling in love? If you tell me you do, you're a lying bastard, because self doesn't want to feel out of control. The very sense of me is the sense of, okay, I do want love, but I'll manage the fucker. I will be, you know, I'll still have some say over how it goes. Well, you don't. You don't have say over how anything goes. It's dreadful. No, that's freedom. That's liberation. That's what's being talked about. That is not what you want. I don't care what you say. I will not believe that that's what you want. You will want it on your terms to some degree. Well, life is not on your terms. You don't have any terms. You're making up the terms. There are no terms to this. There's no contract. There's no tick list. I used to go and see Lisa Cairns a lot, and she would always talk about falling. Free fall, free fall, free falling. This is free falling. No ground. You're the illusion that you know the ground and you stand upon it. So you know where you are, you know who you are, you know what you are. Bullshit. It's all made up. But the thing about this, because there is no ground, if there's falling, but there's no ground, can't tell falling from flying. There's no landing place. Just falling. This is always falling away. It just, you know, the word in non-duality typically is appearance. Well, you won't find the appearance. You know, we only talk about, not just me, but virtually every speaker uses apparently and appearance all the time. So you might end up looking for that. You're not going to find that. It's gone. You will not find the appearance. So there's only what's apparently happening. So I'm looking for what's appearing, what is apparent, what appears to be happening, what's seemingly happening. You will not find it. Any finding of it, it's already gone. The finding of it is just another appearance. And I like the old, well, it's not his. What's his name? Who's the lovely old posh British guy?
Alan Watts.
So Alan Watts used the old Indian analogy of capturing the river in a bucket. That's what self's trying to do. I loved that from the moment I heard that. It's not his, it's Indian analogy, but it's lovely.
Can you repeat that?
So Alan Watts said, you know, the falling away. So rather than falling, the analogy is of the flow. So you just be in the flow, find the flow. So you're looking for the flow. So I'm trying to be in, you've done this. We've all done this. So this flow state, which is blissful, and you try and contain it, to know it, to have it, to hold it. And he says that's exactly like trying to, you put the bucket in the river, in the flow, and you pick it out and you went, now I've got the flow. And you look at the bucket and doesn't seem to be flowing. This can't be captured. So when you hear speakers talk about futility, hopelessness, purposelessness, meaninglessness, that's all about the bucket. If you say you've got it, you most definitely haven't. So that's why it's beautiful to speak about, because I don't doubt that no one knows. Doubtless uncertainty. I don't doubt it. So I haven't got a question for any other human being. You know, even if I met the wonderful Alan Watts, I wouldn't have any questions for him. You know, I wouldn't ask Ramana how it is for him. I wouldn't ask Nisargadatta. I might ask him for a light, for a fag, but that would be it. Because they don't know any more. The idea that there's human beings who know more about this than you, I've got some great, this is the most wonderful news. There aren't. Because there isn't anything to know. And I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that no one knows more than you do. Isn't that, I mean, how wonderful do you want it to be? It's fucking disappointing. You go, well, what am I going to do now? I've been seeking this. And if it does hit like smash in the face, that, oh shit, yeah. Fuck. Really? This is it? Oh, fucking hell. What am I going to do now? Of course, this isn't it. This isn't it, but there just isn't anything else. But calling it doesn't, sounds like you could find it. Really, what seems to have happened for me is that the conviction that there has to be an it that could be found simply died, and it never returned. You won't find it. And so you could get all spiritual and say you are it. I mean, that's popular, isn't it? I sort of should say it, really, because I could make some money. But self so wants to be it. That's the most beautiful carrot you could ever dangle in front of me, is to say, I sit here and I tell you, you are what you've always longed to be. You are it, and it is you. They're wonderfully attractive. But you're not it. You can't be it, and you can't not be it. There's no possibility of becoming. And the end of possibility is the peace that passes all understanding, that it's not possible. So I could ask you, can you see it? And you probably answer no. And I could ask you, can you hear it? And you'd listen. And you'd probably say no. And I could ask you, can you feel it? And you'd do your body scanning exercise that you've learnt. And well, no, maybe a little bit in my big toe, but no, not really. And I might say, being a facetious bastard, that's it. That's it. You won't see it, or hear it, or feel it, but it's all seeing, all hearing, all feeling. So you only everywhere you look, every sound, every feeling, no exception, no escape, No escape.
This is hard to comprehend. Och, nö.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi, Aaron.
This is really hard to accept. Because it means like all the stories that I'm telling myself are bullshit.
Correct. You sort of know that already, Aaron. I'm pretty sure you know it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to do anything about the stories, though.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that you try and.
them,
I'm not saying that you can accept them or reject them. It doesn't. No, just stories. And the stories will remain the bullshit that they are. And it's funny, if all the stories are... Because your bullshit stories are no different to my bullshit stories. Or Nico's bullshit stories. When all the stories are equally stories, they're all liberated, they're all free to be the stories that they appear to be. And that's all they ever were, so it's no change. It's not a big deal. But the problem you have is that some stories are bullshit and some are interesting, some are lies, some are true. That's the lie. You don't know truth from lies. I mean, it's the arrogance of self. I am the arbiter of right and wrong and truth and false, true and false. That's what I do. And woe betide if someone else tells me what's true and false, which is against what I know to be true and false. So your bullshit, Wolf's bullshit, my bullshit, Doris's love story bullshit. It's all beautiful and there's a liberation in that. You know, there's nothing wrong with your bullshit.
I want to be free of it.
You will not be free of it. You are that bullshit. That bullshit story is the sense of me. So who would be, so there won't be any freedom from it. So there will be, if the story, I have no idea how or why this might seem to happen, but if it no longer feels like it belongs to me, that's the liberation of the story.
What is the sense of me?
The story belonging to me.
It's too complicated.
So I could say if it was just the story belonging to me, it wouldn't be quite so bad, wouldn't be quite so convincing, but it is a bodily felt sense. Do you have the sense that you're inside, that you live inside the body?
I don't know.
There's a good answer. You don't know. Well, self usually does know. I mean, I was pretty sure. I felt totally isolated from everything. That's the sense of me. And it might not be. But how the fuck do I know? You know, you're listening to teachers or speakers thinking they know something about what we're speaking about. They know fuck all. That's the liberation. I mean, I put people on pedestals just like you probably have. It's all nonsense. The ordinariness of human beings is the liberation. You know, all human beings are just ordinary human beings with a story. Or not. Do you have the sense of feeling that you are separate?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's not just the story. That is, that's bodily. a bodily felt sense. If I had if I had some snake oil for sale, fuck the books. I had snake oil, which was you drink this potion. You know, I'd be round the States selling that. Oh God, imagine how wealthy I'd be. Just like Eckhart has done with his potion of the power of now. It's a powerful potion. You take this potion, but you have to enroll in my method workshops, of course, ongoing. But if I had a potion, I'd be selling it to you. I wish. But there is no potion, because there is nothing to be attained, you know. So but you said it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
Well, it's impossible to comprehend. So it's not difficult to comprehend. There's nothing to be comprehended. Comprehension is completely redundant. It all goes up in flames. I mean, I was a student of radical non-duality for 10 years. I was consuming book after book after book, especially the ones that said that I couldn't get it, because more than anything I wanted to not get it, like you lot do. Well, you won't not get it. You won't get that you can't get it. You just won't get it. You know, it still feels like there's something on offer here, and there isn't, because this can't be on offer. You can't offer all there is, can you? You can't sell all there is. It's not.
Not being able to comprehend, is it?
No.
No.
No. What would not being? No, because you can't say not being able to comprehend is something, can you? Really? I mean, you can't really find the absence of comprehension. You only find comprehension. And saying I don't understand is just another understanding. I understand that I don't understand. You won't get that.
I didn't mean getting non-comprehension. I meant the movement of I don't understand this, or I need to get something. That's also it.
Yeah, of course, there isn't anything that's not.
Yeah.
So when you say it's difficult to comprehend, I mean that's not it.
But it's not it either.
There isn't anything that's not it, because there isn't an it. Yeah. What I would say is it doesn't matter whether there's seemingly understanding or not. What I mean, in my story, I spent a long time trying to understand it, and I was so arrogant that I didn't doubt that I understood it better than anyone else. Being an arrogant bastard. I really did. And it was really devastating when that was like it all went up in flames. It was really dreadful. Fucking hell. I worked so hard to get it. And so if it does, I mean, it is like a fire. And it seemed like I really tried to put it out as well. I'll go back to understanding. Because self can only want to go back to understanding. You can't pretend that you don't want to understand, because it will be so obvious that you're deluding yourself that you don't want to understand. You fucking do want to understand. More than anything, I wanted to understand. So you need to forget about non-duality and go back to, I don't know, neurobiology if you want to understand something, you know, something scientific that you can at least get a certificate in. You won't get a certificate in this.
Oh.
It won't be worth the paper. You won't even be good for toilet paper, that certificate. And again, that's what's wonderful. There's no experts. It's what it is. There's no masters, no experts, no gurus, no teachers, nothing.
Okay.
The dog knows more about it than you do. I kind of know this already. I mean, when you're with a dog, I mean, dog knows nothing about being. Perfectly being. Dog. No effort. Look how hard you're trying to be you. And here's the wonder. I mean, it's utterly, regardless of any effort of trying, it's totally effortless. All trying is effortless. But me makes a big deal. Look how hard I've tried. Poor me. I've tried so hard and I haven't. Poor me. Wonderful me. Same shit. It is wonderful. It is incredible, dreadfully wonderful. If it dawns and it's undeniable that you never did anything, you didn't get here, you can't leave here, you will never achieve whatever you've desired to achieve. That is the peace that passes all understanding. It's fucking worthless. That is why it's free. It is of no value at all. Utterly, the most absolute valuelessness of nothing. It's worthless. That's the reward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
NotTwo.
So a lot of words are being talked already, today, yesterday. Maybe words like oneness, wholeness, this isness, whatever. In a way, one could say, it's pretty easy, it's pretty simple, pretty obvious, instantly, because all that is ever seen is wholeness already. So wherever you will go, whatever will apparently happening is already this what is longed for. There's nothing else. And that maybe sounds, or that maybe can be confusing, because by the term or by the words using this, it's been made into an object. Because that is what the individual does. It doesn't do that. It happens like that, it seems. It's that constant objectification. So then it may sound that there is something to find called this. And there isn't. And yet, it's this. So it's a complete paradox, what we're talking about today and yesterday. It's inescapable. You can't miss it, because whatever is seen, whatever is felt, whatever is heard, is wholeness, one could say. Nothing is excluded, it's all there is. So maybe in comparison to Tim, I will give a short introduction. And then after that, it's open for questions. If there are any questions we can talk about. One of the most common questions I get is, what happened to you? What happened to you, Nico? Is one of the most asked questions so far I get. And also that answer is pretty simple. It didn't happen to me. So Tim did talk about that there is no possibility. And I would like to say that it's an impossibility. Because the dilemma for the seeker, the me,
the soul, the ego, the I am, it's all made up of the same dreamt level. But the impossibility is that the one who seems to talk about this has something that I don't. And that's completely not the case. I didn't come or came to any conclusion or that came to an understanding. What seems to happen, apparently, is within the story is complete the opposite. The need for one to know what this is stopped appearing. And what I want to say with that is that seeking will never ever lead to a finding. As in never ever. There's nothing to find, because wherever you go is wholeness already. So I didn't achieve anything. I did not come to a conclusion. For no reason, the sense of the center felt in the body was no longer there. That's all. And I can say, from the short period of time I was seeking, without knowing what I really was seeking for, when that center of being someone was for no reason no longer there, it was not what I imagined it to be. There was no bliss in there. There was just disappointment. Disappointment and the silliness, one could say, that this was all there is along the way. There was nothing else. But what seemed to happen is that it was constantly being overlooked. And it's constantly being overlooked because this, sitting in a room with some people and some weird guy up front of the room is doing the talk, is not special enough. There has to be something more special than just this sitting on a seat. Because all the me, which cannot be otherwise, and there's nothing wrong with that, there's nothing right with it. But if you're just being honest, all what the individual wants is just to be better than somebody else. Because there's always seems something missing. And there has to be something that will complete me, that I finally will be good enough. Or that I'm even more special than anyone else. That I can stick out the crowd, look at me, how special I am. And when it comes down to the term liberation, by lack of another word, the one who wanted to be special, just that whole need disappeared. And when nothing is left, there's everything. Which is just pretty ordinary. Just sitting in a seat is already totality. There's nothing missing in this. So whatever seems to happen is complete in its appearance. There's no lack of anything. So it's inescapably this. When I came across Tony Parsons, he often said, it's the perfect lover. Because it never leaves you. It's every sensation, every thought, every breath, is this already. So, in that way, seeking for freedom, I love the word freedom as I said yesterday, is completely and utterly wonderful futile. Because what it does is just furthering the misunderstanding that there is a you who is separate from what we call freedom. And that there is a you separate from what we call freedom is an illusion. Because there is already no you. This isn't already not two, or this is already not two. And there ain't no you in this. There's just what's happening. Or whatever word you want to use, there's just life. Apparently happening. There is no you who is having a life. No, there's just life innocently appearing. As whatever it appears. Or however it appears. There's nothing else. So there's nothing on offer in any way. There is nothing to be achieved, to maintain, or whatsoever. By telling a story, one could say, worst case scenario, you can lose something. You can lose the illusory idea that there is a you who is seeking for freedom. And even that doesn't need to happen. So this whole meeting or this whole weekend does not come out of any intention. Because there is no agenda to change what seems to happen. There's nothing right nor wrong with anything. So it's perfectly fine when one feels like being an individual. It's freedom already pretending not to be free, which is perfectly fine. There's no need to overcome that. There isn't a need nor an intention to change that. No, the beauty of it, if you like, is just this is already perfectly complete as it is.
I just want to hold the mic.
Perfect.
Just kidding.
Be my guest.
Why is there appearances at all? Like, it seems like this is appearing as a mic, this as a hand, and this question arises, why?
And there's no one to it. There's no need for a why. What we're talking about is already everything.
It makes sense, but no.
And it doesn't make sense. There's no need to make sense out of it as well. It's like the individual is married to the why. It's like I said yesterday, it's not such a great marriage. It's a very doubtful marriage.
is in wife as well.
That can be very doubtful as well.
And but.
Perfect start for a question. Yes, but.
Okay, I surrender. I have no clue. Who wants to have the mic? Okay, everybody surrenders.
So hold it too.
What is being shared here, by the way, has nothing to do in any way with surrendering or accepting or rejecting or whatever there might be. The suggestion that is being made here is there is already no you to accept whatsoever. And for some apparent individuals, that may be heard, and for others, it will be maybe never be heard. And it's perfectly fine as it is.
Feels like, in a sense, this is saying yes to everything,
No,
or it's saying no to everything.
no,
No,
none of both.
no.
What we're talking about is everything, apparently. But saying no is this as well as saying yes. So that there is nothing that brings one closer to what is already, nor can you get further away from it. I heard Tim talking before about the spiritual sentence, I am this. And I would say, no, you're not, because that's completely, to me, misleading. And in a way, it is right, one could say, though I would say, this is all there is. So every human body is this, just the misconception is that there is a you inside that body. That's an illusion. There's no one inside the human body. It's just this appearing as a human body, it seems.
Distinction between there being someone and not being someone doesn't seem to matter when there is no one.
No, of course not.
No.
Because everything is already a perfect expression of oneness, wholeness, this isness, whatever words you want to use it. I want to use for it. Just that complete sentence of spirituality is, or that sentence of spirituality is completely misleading, because then I'm not this tiny person. No. I'm far more bigger than that. I am all there is. No, you're not.
I was going to say, do all questions dissolve when there's no one, but then that question just dissolved. So
Sorry, say that
I
again.
was, what's that? I was going to say, do all questions dissolve when there's no one?
I don't get that.
Do all questions dissolve?
Dual?
Do all questions dissolve when there's no one? And then
Well,
that question just dissolves.
if I go to a shop and I want to have some coffee, I still can ask, can I have a coffee, please?
Yeah.
Seems to be. So, as far as it, when it comes down to seeking will never lead to a finding. So, or it will never stop because of an understanding. because the individual seems to live in a world where it can learn things by understanding. Knowing is all it knows, so to speak. So there's only this mystery that cannot be spoken of, and as long as one knows what this is, the mystery stays hidden, one could say. Which is the same as saying this doesn't have any clue what is being spoken of. So the sharing does not come out of any knowing or an understanding, nor a conclusion, or all those things. And what seems to happen sometimes is that for some human beings who are resonating with the sharing, it can be that from a certain point, by the people I did talk to, from a certain point that there are no questions appearing anymore. Seems like something common.
It feels like there's like a kind of pure excitement. And from there, like questions try to sort of, and then they just dissolve. Like, but then there's still the excitement left.
Isn't
Just in time.
anything we say just a story? I mean, when I open my mouth and say any word, isn't it just a story?
Well, it's worse. It's not your mouth to begin with. Though, from the moment words come out, you have a story. Yeah. Just the illusion is that it is your story. There is no one who is having a story, because there is simply just no one to have something.
So no way. For me, it feels just right now I'm falling down, but not really. Everything is broken. I know I cannot get up anymore, but I cannot go really down. So I have to wait until I just die on that state, or someone kick me in this complete nothingness.
But this is the nothingness we're talking about. Nothingness isn't somewhere else, something out there, which you can find or that you can approach and then you can achieve. No, this very attempt is already what's appearing to happen. So the individual can wait what they call their life for the rest of its so-called life. It's the need that something needs to happen, which is basically saying how it is, as in now, by lack of a better word, it's not okay. So there needs something to happen in order for me to feel better. And what is being suggested here today, or what is being shared, is what seems to happen is already everything. So there is no agenda to change what seems to happen. So this is the most meaningless meeting you could ever join. There's no intention behind it in any way. It's just a simple pointing. All there is what's appearing. And pointing out what often seems to happen is that seeking for it is completely useless. That doesn't say you should stop or start. No, it's just say seeking is already wholeness, pretending not to be whole, seeking to be whole again. It's pretty hilarious. So whatever seems to happen is already this. It's nothing else. All right, it's a good time to have some tea. I have a break. And then we move on to the last session. Thank you.
There's already no you. Not two.